uSports Central back at it, Adam Deal. That is Scott Galletti joining me. Glad you could be here. No Charles today. That's a good thing for us, right?
I guess.
We need a break from him
This is
sometimes.
the first time I've been on this show, and I was looking forward to being with Charles. So, you know, it can go either way, I guess.
Look, he's in D.C., he's on business, but we're still working one of the most important weeks right here, and we're talking about bracketology. Scott, you were here for this. We're going over the whole mess. I went over the first top 10 seeds.
It
quickly.
is a mess.
I'm going to recap them real quick. We've got Hobbs, Cleveland, Carlsbad, Rio Rancho, Valley, ABQ, Volcano, West Mesa, Sandia. We said Las Cruces would be that 10 seed, so let's move on. And I want to hear your thoughts, obviously, about this. We have Cibola as that 11 seed. They are reeling, and everybody knows that, right? They are falling. They've lost a couple of players, but you look at their overall resume, Scott, and they've got a lot of great wins against district champs, which is one of the criteria. Their overall record, pretty decent for an 11 seed. This is why they're going to fly just above Gadsden at that 12, because they win these tiebreakers, plus their max preps ranking, which we know is huge, is ahead of theirs, so that's why we have them slotted in 11. What do you think?
Well, I think, imagine if Christian Cunningham was still playing. I think things would even be more out of whack because they'd be a lot better. But Cibola at number 12, I guess, you know, since they fit the criteria, I guess it's a good choice. But they are reeling, and they gave Rio Rancho a really good game.
They did.
In fact, it took a big run
They were up
by
going
Rio
to the fourth quarter,
Rancho
right?
to finish that game out. What was it, 14-16-0 run?
Yeah, and Cibola only scored 2 points. It was 14-2 fourth quarter score, which is why Rio Rancho goes ahead and wins by 13. So they were losing going into the fourth quarter by 1, but you're right. It was a monster fourth quarter for Rio Rancho against Cibola. They are reeling, but as of now, at least, they'll get that 11 seed,
last
we
year
think.
too. And
yeah.
Remember, they gave Valley a game. So.
They were a 16 seed, almost upset at Valley, which obviously would have set the state on fire. Valley ends up winning the state championship, of course, with Coach Coleman. You move on, and Gadsden, you see, is at that 12 spot. What's interesting, though, is Rio Grande and their surgence into this playoffs because they finished above Atrisco. We know they're going to be in, but they're playing really well. They lost last night against West Mesa in overtime by 6, but they were on a 4-game win streak. Their resume actually pretty decent. They've got a lot of district championship wins. Their record okay. They're sitting at number 17 at max preps, but they comfortably jump ahead of El Dorado and La Cueva based on the criteria.
Well, that's what victories against Albuquerque and Valley will do to a team. And, you know, they gave Valley their only loss in district play, playing very, very well. And, you know, it's the team that's playing good offense and defense at the end of the year that usually puts together runs. So I wouldn't sleep on this team because once they're in, they know that they have a shot.
Well, that's it. I think they're the most dangerous team as of right now that I see going into this tournament. I wouldn't want to see them in the first round. They got a lot of players back.
Right.
Marshall Moore, maybe one of the better guards / forwards that nobody's talking about in the state. They've got some bigs, and it's weird to say Rio Grande has some bigs, but they're starting to play really good. Can Sean Menendez's crew pull off an upset in the first round? Depends on the matchup, but I think they could have a good possibility at doing it, Scott. As we move on here, we think Rio Grande will get the 13, and this is as of now. Remember, district tournaments could change a few of these things, especially overall record. It could flip some teams here, but we'll move on. And Atrisco Heritage may be the opposite of Rio Grande. They're going the wrong way right now, and they lose 3 at the end of the season. They fall behind Rio Grande in district play. Because of the beginning of their season, they do have a lot of great wins. Their max preps is still high enough to get them ranked above El Dorado and La Cueva, and they do have head-to-head wins, so they'll be ahead of those two teams at least.
Well, think about this, Adam. Atrisco Heritage, just a couple of weeks ago, you on this show, Steve Davis and I on the sports desk, we were talking about Atrisco Heritage maybe jumping up the ladder, maybe in the top 10, and now, like you said, they're free-falling. And it's one of those things where, you know, you don't think of Atrisco Heritage in free fall. So it's kind of surprising to see what's going on with them. But then again, they still have an opportunity come state time to make some noise.
Tough for Adrian Ortega. Chris Trujillo, their starting point guard, a big piece of this program, was out as district play started, so it's been really difficult for them to bounce back from that injury. They're already not deep enough. Johnny Rodriguez has been too inconsistent from the three-point line, and then Deshaun Lucero cannot carry night in and night out. Estevan Martinez probably has to be more consistent as well. They do have some pieces. If Adrian Ortega's team could maybe get the right matchup, I would not be shocked if they can make some noise into the tournament. Moving on to the last 2 seeds, you see 15 and 16. El Dorado right now gets the nod over the La Cueva Bears. This mainly because of their head-to-head matchup. El Dorado's won 2 as compared to La Cueva's 1. You look at Max Preps, and El Dorado wins that as well, and they've tied in district play, so El Dorado will get the nod. Here's the deal, though. Oñate's sitting on the outside of the bubble looking in. They're at 17 right now. Their resume bodes well against El Dorado. So it's almost like a three-way tie, right? El Dorado beats La Cueva. La Cueva easily beats Oñate when you compare the two, and Oñate's very close with El Dorado. It will depend on that coach's poll. So this is why I think tomorrow night's game, El Dorado La Cueva, monster. It is monster. If El Dorado loses, they could be in trouble. I really believe this. Coach Sanchez does not want to hear that. But their head-to-head resume, their max preps, it's not high enough. Oñate will be very close. That's all I'm saying. They win and they're comfortably in, and La Cueva's comfortably ahead of Oñate. So these Eagles, what do you think, Coach Roy Sanchez's Eagles?
Well, I think they're a team that's kind of a mystery. A lot of people didn't think they were going to be much without Zach Gentry. At the same time, Coach Sanchez brings the equalizer because he's an outstanding coach. He can get the best out of his players, and they've put together good win, especially once they got their football players back onto the team. Zach May in particular. I mean, with Zach May, he's one of the favorite players that I've seen here in the metro area.
Isn't he?
He really is. He's an outstanding player. He makes things happen. As you see a game here at El Dorado. I saw the game earlier in the year when they played at La Cueva, and it was the last-second shot.
Devin
Both
Horn's
of us did that
right.
game, Devin Horn.
That's
and
right.
that was the only reason why La Cueva wins that game. But Zach May pretty much kept his team in that game. And that's not to say anything bad about the other players, because the other players played outstanding. But offensively, defensively, and just a nose for the ball, that football player attitude, go after the ball, that's what he brings to the table.
X factor, no doubt. Best player on El Dorado, no doubt. Lagarde, maybe the best young player, Michael Lagarde, the sophomore. If Gavin Casillas can be consistent from the outside, El Dorado could be dangerous. Remember, last time they played La Cueva, they smashed them right here at El Dorado. I mean, beat them by 20 plus. They're going to need another performance like that for Roy to feel comfortable come Sunday in the seeding and selection show. And you talk about La Cueva, we don't know who this team is. Sometimes La Cueva looks really good and the pieces fit right. This right now, they're listed as the 16 seed to us, Scott. I don't know, Devin Horn either looks like the player of the year candidate or he's not scoring any. You know, same thing with Maji Kahala. He's a very good player. He can shoot Maji Kahala, but when he's off, he's off. Same with Bashar Jawad, maybe a little bit out of control sometimes. It just depends on who shows up, Frank Castillo's crew.
Obviously, not having an over-record for that almost month period, that really hurt them, although at the same time it helped them develop as a team with other guys having to step up for over-records rebounding. But at the same time, you mentioned Kahala, you mentioned Horn as far as their shooting. The thing about those guys is I think sometimes they try to be too unselfish and pass the ball around when they give up open shots. It's kind of like people are talking about the Lobos right now, giving up open shots as opposed to taking it from the outside and to see what happens because they can shoot. And once Overacker came into the game, I think maybe they were trying to force it inside a little too much. And they're a mystery team in terms of offense, but the one thing that they will bring to the table each and every night is defense. And that's the X factor for them, is their defense.
Quickly, 20 seconds here, Scott. Who is your dark horse in this field? Who could you see making a run through the things? Maybe that's going to be a mediocre seed.
I don't know about mediocre seed, but my dark horse is Sandia. I think they're going to make a lot of noise because
they have
of their
gotten
size,
extremely better.
Their shooting, they've gotten extremely better, and Coach Broussard believes his team is believing in itself.
You can listen to him on the call Saturday night, ProViewNetworks.com. Huge monster district tournament championship game. Albuquerque High, either West Mesa or Albuquerque High, taking on Valley. Thanks for coming on, Scott Galletti. You're the man.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, come on back. A lot more to cover here on uSports Central.